Okay, so we come to the question part of the afternoon, and what I'm going to do is sort of go from left to right, and I will take one person from each section and then come back again. And there's a gentleman with a bow tie who was first up.
Thank you, Dr. Tsai, for the inspirational speech.
I think there's a mic. Just.
So thank you, Dr. Tsai, for your inspirational speech. As a next generation, I would like to know what advice you will give for Taiwanese students to face a new China with the second largest economy. And on the other hand, what advice you will give for future Chinese students to face a new Taiwan with a common value of freedom and democracy. Thank you very much.
Advice to young students, Taiwanese young students. Of course, first thing is that you have to get your degree first. Be a good student, but a rebellious one. Mainly, you have to challenge your teacher and your contemporaries. Don't assume that everything that you are taught is always correct. Being a rebellious student is important. You have to challenge everything that you are taught because things are changing rather rapidly. And what is true today may not be true tomorrow, and what is good for today may not be good for tomorrow. So you have to make yourself suited for changes which happens every day. So be a learned person, be a person ready for challenges at any time, and of course be a good person. and that applies to students from China as well. I don't think there's a difference. The challenge is common to all the young people in the world, and no matter where it is, in Taiwan or you're from Taiwan or from China, the challenge is the same. But for people from China, you have an additional task that is to expedite the democratization of China, because that is the common value that this international community has. As a future power, it's already a major power in Asia, and it's going to be a greater power in the future. As a responsible great power, communication and sharing value with the international community is very important. So expediting democratic development in China is a very essential element for China to become a responsible power.
And for a Taiwanese student wanting to deal, that was the other half of the question, I believe. For a Taiwanese student wanting to deal with a growing mainland.
Well, you have to deal and face the growing mainland with confidence. I mean, of course, Taiwan is a much smaller place compared to China, and our population is much less than the population of China. But we have a very decent society, an open society, with the kind of diversity and creativity that one would expect of a modern society. So face China with confidence and with some degree of accommodation, so that we will be able to sit down and dialogue, having dialogue with each other. And perhaps we can, at some stage, work together to meet the challenges of ours. So, essential word, be confident.
Well, I said I'd go this way, so I'll recognize you. Yes, please. Yes.
It's nice to hear your speech here. Actually, I like it quite a bit better than Jing Putong's, where I was like.
I don't know whether it's fair or not because he is not here.
You know, back then, I don't know what you are going to speak, so I cannot comment at his place.
All right.
But anyway, okay. So I'm also from Taiwan, and I have a question. So you talk about this income disparity, and like there are relative small income for young people, and we generally have an anxiety about this. So noting this problem, do you have any concrete policy which may at least mitigate this problem?
Right, I have a whole set of policies aiming at creating job opportunities for the next generation. But people in Taiwan are so used to being employed by somebody else. And they're so used to being employees of somebody else, relying on others to take the business risk, and whereas you would rely on the salaries that we receive every day. Now, the next stage is going to be different. You have to be prepared to be your own boss, and you have to develop your own business. So here are the major principles that I have in developing the economic environment for the next generation. First one is creating new industries that provide good job opportunities for the young generation. When I say environment, I'm not saying that I'm setting up companies to employ you. I would expect that you set up your own company, set up your own venture, and be courageous, ambitious, to be the employer of your own. This is a very essential quality that I would expect from our next generation. Be adventurous. And secondly, my economic policy will be geared at creating jobs rather than adding numbers to our growth rate. Some of the growth rate may not be meaningful in a globalizing world economy because there are so many companies that have their production carried out somewhere else. It's not at home. So in terms of job creation, it doesn't have much meaning. So the important thing is that you need to have a good environment for people to be employers of their own and running their own business. When you want to have your own venture, there's an infrastructure there helping you to raise capital, to acquire the technologies you need. And also, you've got lawyers, business development people out there to help you, a good incubation system. So these are the things that the government should do for the next generation. And third thing is that you need to have that sort of interdisciplinary, sorry, I had this problem pronouncing that word since my student day.
Well, you said be rebellious. You didn't talk about this.
But when I was a student at the London School of Economics, this is the word I was taught, that is trying to be interdisciplinary as possible. That is, you are able to cope with trainings in different fields, and you can work with people with different training. So, and you will be able to lead a team of different talents and to achieve a particular objective. So if you are a scientist, you might want to learn something about business. If you are an engineer, you might want to learn something about medical science. So you will be very good at developing medical devices. So in today's world, single discipline is just not enough. And the other thing is that humanities. you have to be able to read literature, listen to music, and get your feelings right. And in order to be a good business person, a good professor, and etc. Thank you.
Right. I'm not a Taiwanese student.
You were an American student at some stage.
No, I was a British student. My question is, how do you react to the press reports that, based on a leak from an American official apparently, that the government officials who saw you down in Washington were disappointed and were hoping that you wouldn't win the next election?
Well, I would expect this question coming from the press, but since you asked, I will answer your questions. But this comes to be a surprise because it's just true, and this is apparently a quote from an unnamed official, and we don't know whether this is a true story or not. Even if it is true, I don't think this is consistent with what we were told by the American officials when we were having a meeting with them. We were assured that the U.S. would stand neutral in this election, and they will not intervene in any way in the competition, and they would work with whoever that wins the election. So I guess these messages are very clear and repeatedly conveyed to us, and we believe this is the true position of the U.S. government. So a story like the one that you said just now seems to be running counter to what is the position that is conveyed to us, and repeatedly, almost in every meeting that we have with the American officials, we're told these three things. So,
Was that?
there will be follow-up questions, don't worry.
Thank you. I'm a student from mainland. And first I'd like to ask for your forgiveness if you think my question is a little tough. And in your lecture you mentioned democracy and human rights, but we know that when Chen Yuanlin, the leader of the Association for the Relations across the Taiwan Strait with Taiwan, from the media we know that you planned the violence to intervene. And besides, the DPP also once again used violence to interrupt the discussion of ECFA to protest the Biden government negotiation with mainland. So it seems like the DPP preferred to use the violence to realize your human rights or democracy. How can you explain it? And is the Taiwan independence is your political goal or just a tool for access to your political power? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I am a bit surprised by your definition of violence. In a democratic society, in an open society, that seems to be rather normal when we speak louder. Society, the most important thing is freedom of speech, and which we intended to exercise that freedom of speech when attending the camp. Of course, he was a guest of us, and we should be treating him as a guest. And we did not have the intention to cause any personal injury to him. And what we intend to do is try to gather a group of people so that our voice will be louder and can be heard more clearly. And I think this is a rather common in a democratic society. So if that is the definition of violence, then I would feel rather disappointed. But there's a rule to follow, though. While you are exercising your freedom of speech, you have to give proper respect to other people as well. So I think there are embarrassing moments for Mr. Chan, and I think perhaps we'll try to improve next time. But in a democratic society, embarrassment of that kind are almost impossible to avoid, and politicians living in a democratic society are always subject to that of embarrassment. I myself am being embarrassed almost every day as a politician. So politicians in the democracy are not necessarily a good job.
Yes, sir.
United States have a China policy, and as you elect as president of Taiwan, can you tell me your Taiwan policy for China and for United States? Second question, if you elect as president of Taiwan, are you waiting to, or you will declare Taiwan independent? Thank you.
Right, my China policy. I thought I have repeated again and again in different contexts, but I don't mind saying it again. I think the most important priority in our China policy, I mean the DPPs and my China policy, is to maintain a peaceful and stable relationship, and which, in my view, serves the best interest of all parties concerned. So when I say all parties concerned, I mean Taiwan, China, the US, and other countries in Asia. So it serves the best interest of the region. And as a member of the region, I think both Taiwan and China have the responsibility, common responsibility and common interest to maintain a peaceful relationship. So the first thing is to maintain a stable relationship. And secondly, China, of course, is a part of the global market, and therefore we need to normalize our trade and investment relationship with China. When I say normalization of the relationship, I mean we need to build the right infrastructure for the trade and investment to flow in a constructive way. And infrastructure meaning legal framework and coordination, consultation process, and even a certain amount of negotiation between the two sides. So, and dispute settlement in case there are disputes. So things of that sort, I call infrastructure. So continue to build the infrastructure is very important to facilitate normalization of trade and investment between the two places. And thirdly, of course, we like to see a balanced Asia in the sense that you have this emerging power, is already a power, a major power of China, and also the rest of Asia being smaller countries facing a big power. So you have this problem of the balancing of powers in Asia. So I think in many people's view is a security issue. And then we'd like to see a collective effort in Asia to deal with the security issues there and maintain a balanced relationship between the members of that community.